All right, and next we're gonna have a chat with the man himself, Stig from Level 6, to talk about some new dry gear and Level 6 itself. And hey, Stig, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah. In the Level 6 office, and you have some awesome new dry gear behind you.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. This year was well, I guess design starts about 18 months to 2 years before it kind of goes live in the retail market. But we started working on these front entry dry suits probably almost 2 years ago, as we were kind of redoing our dry suit line as new technologies, new seam tapes were becoming available. And then that's them right there,
Yeah.
the Odin and the Freya. We sampled a women's dry suit, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. We had played with the idea of it, but just dry suits weren't really, I don't know, they weren't, I guess, as popular as they are now, where we're selling a ton of dry suits and not as many dry tops, whereas back in the day, dry suits were kind of the luxury item. Most people just bought dry tops and you wore a pair of shorts or neoprene underneath. But I think as people understood the comfort level you can get a dry suit, once you go there, you don't really go back, especially like what Matt was talking about in some of the late season paddling. You can get an extra month on each end of the season with a dry suit for sure.
Yep. Right on. So, I mean, maybe can you walk us through some of the features that distinguish the new Freya and Odin from the Emperor that you guys were doing before?
Yeah, for sure. We still do the Emperor. Can you still see me?
Yep.
Okay. So we still do the Emperor, of course. It's kind of our Cadillac Bugatti of all of our dry suit line. We also wanted something a little less beefy without the Cordura shoulders. So this is the new women's Freya dry suit. Some things that you'll see, as we're always trying to innovate and create different ways of closure systems or how to get them on and off. You see, the first thing, we've gotten rid of our webbing strap system on the sides. The biggest deal with that was when we designed that concept, most of the people who have a Velcro tunnel system, it's just like it simply pulls over a gusset and attaches onto the Velcro. The problem being is that sand gets onto the Velcro, or the hook part of the Velcro starts getting worn over time. You lose that kind of gripability, and then you're always constantly redoing your waistband system all the time. So our concept, the DCS system, which we did that like 15, 20 years ago, it actually pulls from both sides of it. So it's like a cantilever system. It crunches down, so a lot less stress on the actual Velcro portion. It didn't look aesthetically pleasing, but it was super functional. So last year we started really working on how to change that up. So we launched a new stealth waistband system. So same concept. It has everything's hidden inside this sleeve. So it still pulls from the front and back and then locks down, but you have this tone-on-tone fabric straps instead. You don't have any buckles to deal with. You don't have any extra pieces of webbing hanging down, which on our old system used to have.
Yeah, so it's a super clean suit.
Pardon me?
It's a super clean suit this year. It's really sharp looking, and like you said, it's not a lot of excess material on it to get caught or just in the way of going underneath your PFD.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what we had before was really functionally strong, but aesthetically, it wasn't where we wanted to be at. I think as we grow, as mature as a company, we try to keep polishing everything that we do. So, nothing else we did on the women's dry suit. If you notice our rear relief zipper, really unique and different than everyone else has. It goes on an angle, an S angle across. And the idea with that is you don't have to have a zipper that goes on a semicircle arc. And the drawback with that is that, in a canoe, you've got this, zipper pinned against the back of your back band, or you're in a kayak, or you're sitting on it on the side of your legs and you're sitting tight in your kayak. Also, zippers like this, these T-zips and YKK plastic zippers, they don't like to be bent. When you bend them, you're stressing them, and then they inevitably can break. Also, trying to bend it and zip it on and off on a curve like that is also really difficult to do and get it nice and tight. So our concept was this. system. It allows for a smaller zipper because it actually acts like a clamshell and it opens up. So you can get the material a lot further away from your body when you are going to the washroom. Yeah. And there's only one pressure point on it versus having this side here having all the pressure points. So that was new. It's a level 6 thing that we designed. Of course, it has a double tunnel as well, and it has a belt system integrated in, just in case you need to take a bit of extra material in. One thing with dry suits, it's difficult to design the, you got a height and you got a width measurement, but there's a lot of different body shapes out there. You want it to fit properly on everybody.
For sure. Yep.
Something else that we do on all of our suits is we add these circular 2-inch crop circles. So what it is, it's a heat pressure seam tape on every 3- and 4-way seam. This is the highest point of failure when you start having more and more fabrics built up upon each other. It gets bulky, so it's hard to seam tape. So by putting this 2-inch circular patch on every single seam, 4-way and 3-way seam, it makes it last a lot longer.
Yeah.
And then something else we do in all of our dry suits. We have an articulated spine. So all the suits in the market right now, except for the level 6 suits, are designed so that the front and the back are the same height. It's called the center front and center back in kind of garment terms. The problem is in a dry suit, especially if you're kayaking, you're tending to sit down. And so your back actually has to be longer. So if you get into a suit, you have to kind of upsize the size of your suit if you're a tall person like myself. And so when you bend down your kayak, the suit rides up your butt. So what we've done is all of our suits have the back panel is 6 inches longer than the front panel. And how we do it so it doesn't look weird on the shelf, it doesn't bag out, is we add these articulated spine darts. So all the material is gathered on both of the sides, so it pulls up, so the pant actually sits normally on front to back when you're standing up, and you bend down, all the extra fabric is hidden inside the tunnel, and then it doesn't have a stress point on your back when you're sitting in your kayak. So all of our suits have that as well.
Right on. No, it's an awesome collection, and I think having another women's suit specifically on the line or on the market is a great addition that was certainly needed.
Yeah, it's the past couple of years we've seen a real strong surge in women paddlers again, and not just women paddlers who are doing the fair weather paddling. The women paddlers are going out and they're pushing as hard as the guys are, or guys were in the spring and the fall in bigger water. So we're seeing like our Nova dry top. The sales are picking up on that, where that generally tended to be a slower selling item compared to the men's, now the women's dry suit. So that's the Freya. And then we did a men's version as well called the Odin. This comes in 3 colors. There'll be more colors than women's for next year as well. Same thing, double entry, front tunnel, front entry, double tunnel. Same belt system. It has the same articulated spine feature on the back as well.
Yep.
Some cool things we're doing as we're getting more and more innovative in our techniques. We're doing laser cut, dyed drain holes, everything, getting rid of excess sewing or bar tacking that required. And then some just cool little features on it. Reinforced elbows, reinforced seat panel, and reinforced knees.
Right on.
So yeah, those are the 2 new suits. All of our, it's our exhaust. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you exactly that. What guy are you guys using for your actual waterproofing membrane or fabric that you're using?
Yeah, so years and years ago, we were working in the same mill in Japan that Gore was using when they were working on their Teflon membrane. It was called immersion technology way back then. It was a combination of fabrics that really was meant to be for water sports. Over the course of testing, and they realized that water sports is a pretty tiny category for them, so it wasn't worth the investment. So lucky enough, we're at the same mill, so we started working with the same technology, and we kept kind of pushing it further and further. And we call it exhaust. We have exhaust 3.0, which is our 3-ply, exhaust 2.5, and then exhaust 2.5 UL, which is our ultralight line that we launched think 2 or 3 years ago at a German trade show called Paddle Expo. We won Most Innovative Gear of the Year award, how we had combined this top face fabric that allowed it to be about 30% lighter than our regular 2.5 ply, but had the same shear strength. So it was all about kind of minimize that bulk and restriction when you're paddling. So our fabric, so your face fabric is what creates the durability. And then we have a Teflon membrane that's laminated to that. And then we have an inner scrim. And what makes ours important is that inner scrim, it actually absorbs moisture off your skin. And the reason why that's so important in paddle sports is that, most Gore-Tex or any 3-ply fabric, it is amazing on the top of Mount Everest, where you're super humid inside from exercising and it's zero humidity outside. So the moisture just wants to rip through that garment and just breathe. Problem is in paddle sports is you've got a really wet external environment and you're sweating on the inside. So in order for that membrane to work, there has to be a differential in moisture in order for it to transpire through from the high density to low density, or high concentration to low concentration. The drawback is paddle sports, the outer side gets really wet, so you have to fake it. So you need to create a higher density of water on the inside in order for it to transpire through. So our inner membrane actually sucks the moisture off your skin, and then it pushes against the inner Teflon membrane, and then that in turn transpires it through the garment to the outside.
Awesome, right on.
Yeah.
Apart from your dry suit line, you guys are producing some awesome neoprene accessories. I picked up some off the floor of my favorite stuff you guys are doing right now. Can you talk about a little bit about your mitts and gloves that you guys launched last year, and you also have, I believe, the new Collider cap.
Yeah, we made again about pretty much 2 years ago. One of our designers, Nicholas, we really tasked him to go through our entire neoprene accessory line and rethink it, redesign it, and try to really separate it from just a bunch of different things that filled certain needs, but wasn't really structured to having a lighter 2 mil line that wasn't seam taped or liquid seamed, and then our higher end 3 mil line that's really waterproof, not blind stitched and glued, which is good, but it's not the best. And so you'll see that in that gridstone mitt that you just showed. It's liquid seamed on the outside. So that means that it's like a liquid rubber that we put on every single seam, makes it 100% waterproof. Those came out, I think this year was the first year they launched this spring, over the course of quite a bit of trial and error. At the same time, we also redesigned our packaging to be a lot less environmentally impactful. So recycled papers, no longer individually polybagged at the source, and then reusable. Don't have to have. You can remove them from the packaging at the store level, and then try them on and put them back on again. Packaging. So yeah, so that was all new. And then I think Matt was talking about our quartz hoodie and our Collider cap, the 2 caps we did this year. One helmet liner style, and another one that it's really like a full-on waterproof hood.
Right on.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys you put a lot of thought into the Level 6 lineup. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of the inception of Level 6 and how you personally got started in the business?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the Canadian National Slalom kayaking team. So I came to Ottawa, went to University of Ottawa, and then trained up here at the pump house. And around my last year of university, I was living with another guy on the national team called Mark. His name was Mark Illing. He was a kayaker. And we were just playing around, making some rash tops. And just like I would go to Bouclaire's or Fabricland and buy some Lycra. I patterned a t-shirt, and I would make, training tops because it was so hot here in the summertime. And I think we were just joking. We call it like the Green Hurricane Kayak Co. I made some rash tops, sold them for $20. It was just kind of fun to do. Kind of got me into learning how to pattern. And then when I finished university, I bought a 1972 VW van with a guy from school, and we drove to Vancouver, and we surfed every single surf break from Vancouver to Costa Rica over the course of 8 months. This was back in 1996, where things were pretty dodgy
Yeah.
Going to, it wasn't a thing to do. We get broke down a ton and lived on the side of the road all the time. It was a good experience. And when I got down there, the rest of the Canadian team was down. We all came down to train in January, February with a bunch of the European teams, and we really got into surfing down there with the rest of the people. And so at that time, there was just really there's no style or kind of design power-esque in paddle sports. It was really, those Kokatat, Stolquist, NRS, and they were much different companies than what they are now. And so we started designing, kind of functional but also fashion-forward paddling jackets and board shorts and lifestyle. So we really kind of grew a lifestyle brand at the same time as a gear brand. And that really hadn't been done before. For every dry top we had 4 or 5 pairs of board shorts, and rash tops as well. So we're trying to create a culture around paddle sports versus just, you go paddling and then you're off the water. You go you put on your street clothes and then you're something else. So we wanted to create a brand that identified with water sports. And that's how Level 6 kind of started.
Right on. Can you explain a little bit about the actual name itself?
Yeah, there was on one of the weekends we were out surfing, and my old business partner Tyler Lawler, he was also down there with a bunch of other national team members, and we went to a Caribbean surf town. I think it was Limon, or it's down on the Caribbean side. I forget now. And we were at this bar, and we were living like in squalor down there. We were living in a 1-bedroom concrete pad that we had rented from a guy. And every time a Canadian team member came down, we just threw another mattress down and we all just slept on the floor there. And so we weren't showering very often and all the kind of the stuff you do when you're 24 years old, living on a buck a day. And Tyler had this Eddie Bauer pajama shirt on, and we went to this bar at night. And this is back when the rave scene was a really big thing. And quite a few German surfers were there, and they had this lime green shirt that said level 5 there ain't no higher, and it was like a rave shirt from they had gone to. So they wanted to trade with Tyler for his Eddie Bauer shirt. So of course they did, because Tyler wanted a clean shirt and it was a cool shirt at the time. So they traded, and then about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, they wanted to trade back. We're like, there's no way. We're keeping this shirt. And so a bar fight happened, and it kind of spilled out on the street, and it got pretty nasty. But we were all national team members, or all going to be national team members that summer, and so we were pretty big. And we beat them in the fight, and then we all kind of went home. And then the next morning, it was like kind of a breakfast cafe place right in front of the surf break, and the Germans were there having breakfast, and we were all out surfing, and like, thank God we were at that point, we were better surfers than the Germans. So we would surf by and we're like, level 6, man, it's one better than your shirt. And it became just like a stupid guy girl thing to do and say. So then that summer, I think of the 7 or 8 of us down there, I think 4 or 5 of us made the World Cup team, and we all went to Europe for our first World Cup circuit. And it was every time we had like a really good training session or a really good run or a good time, it was, oh man, it was so level 6. It just became like the catchphrase of, being in the know and doing something really good. And then we finished the circuit that summer. And then in September, we were playing with the idea of, we need to start a lifestyle brand. Like, let's start making board shorts. Let's start making some easy paddling jackets. And so we were just talking about it to some of our friends at a training camp, and we're like, what should we call this? And like, you got to call it Level 6. And that's how it happened.
Right on. It's a good story. Good origin story.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But then we went to Montreal. We would buy fabric at some of the off-cut places, and we just come home and find a sewer and just started sewing them. And then that, exactly like Matt said, we'd make board shorts and T-shirts, and we'd travel the World Cup circuit, and we'd sell them all in the back of our car and put the money back in and keep trying to grow it and grow it. And it was actually Trailhead was our very first retailer of Level 6, if you can believe it.
Yeah, we've had a long relationship. The two businesses for sure. I think you already hit on it a little bit with some of the moves with your packaging, going a little bit more environmentally. But can you speak to any sort of future plans or directions that you'd be willing to share with us about Level 6, what you guys are looking to do, whether it's environmentally or product development or anything else?
I mean, we're certainly, I mean, as far as environmentally, we're we're doing the 1% still for watershed. I mean, you're seeing more like our youth scholarship program that we launched as well last year. So we're getting kids, we're paying for kids who can't necessarily afford to go by themselves to go to kayak school. So we partnered with a bunch of different schools around North America, and I think we sent between 5 and 10 kids last year. And hopefully, if this COVID-19 thing disappears, we'll be able to do that again. This year, we've already allocated the money for it. And then we will start an initiative for the Canadian freestyle team where we're raffling off a dry suit or the Odin or Freya, your choice, and you buying tickets. I think we're at $1,500 to $2,000 raised so far on that.
And how can folks enter in and buy tickets?
Yeah, if you go to our website or the Canadian freestyle team, there's a link, and they just go to our website, and you buy a ticket online, and then you get registered to do it. And then 100% of all those proceeds are being donated to the Canadian freestyle team.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. As far as initiatives with the design, I mean, we're always trying to progress more and more. You'll see where some of our dry suits, we trimmed down a bit on the bulk and the legs. We have a brand new sock design coming out as well. Okay. Dry suit socks are the hardest thing to do well because the more seams you have, higher chance of failure. But the more seams you have, the more comfortable it is to wear. So trying to combine the two things at the same time is difficult. So we've been playing with that for about a year. And we're testing them now on some dry pants right now. New fabrics, recycled yarns for the face fabric. And then one of the biggest environmental things with paddling or any kind of waterproof garment is that DWR. It's that surface treatment that allows the water to beat up. If you don't have it, the fabric wets out. It doesn't breathe very well. But unfortunately, right now, the only type of material that is used to create a good DWR that lasts is a petroleum-based product, which it's not great. Over time, I mean, it's gotten better. It used to be called C8, which was it was amazing DWR, but it was really bad for the environment. So now they trimmed down to C6. There's talk of even going to C4. Anything below C4, it's probably not going to be great for paddle sports. We're trying to figure out different ways of creating a DWR that's environmentally sound that also lasts. So that's something that's new that we're working on as well. Limestone-based neoprene, we switched over a lot of our line to that, so it's not petroleum-based anymore. So that's the Sombrio and Jericho line. Yep. There is a plant-based neoprene that we're testing as well right now on our really high-end spray skirt. So you'll see that. It's actually been FDA approved you could eat it if you wanted to. Like every single part of it is edible. So we've been testing with that too. But yeah, we have lots of stuff. There's always that in our packaging. I think we taco rolled all of our garments this year. I think Addison, one of our designers, calculated we sold 9,200 poly bags were saved this year just on that spring shipment alone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's certainly going to be, obviously something that's an important thing to consider, and definitely going to be more important as we move into the future. So it's great that you guys are paying so much attention to that. Maybe just to finish off, again, we were sort of talking about getting into whitewater season with Steven from Jackson and also from Matt previously. Do you have any sort of tips or insights for people that may be buying some of their first paddling specific gear, maybe what to look for, and the advantages of going to a dry suit versus dry top and pants or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, look at realistically where you're gonna be paddling. Out east, we're so blessed with warm water in the summertime. So if you live out east, think about when you're really gonna physically start paddling. If you're gonna start paddling like Matt and those guys right now, I would 100% recommend a dry suit. Not only for comfort, but also for safety. It buys you tons of time if you do happen to swim. It's just a more comfortable paddling experience. You don't get cold, your muscles are warmer, so less prone to injury, all of that stuff. If you are a paddler who's really gonna start paddling and late May or June. Then I think, if you're out east, then a dry top, or even like the Vega, like Matt was saying, our shorty dry top are great choices. If you're traveling a lot where there's, colder water, if you're out west, then, dry suit really is the key to keeping you nice and warm and safe all the time. If you know that you're paddling with a bunch of buddies, you don't want to have that bulk of having a full suit, or maybe necessarily the expense, then a dry top and a pair of neoprene shorts, or our Pro God or Pro Goddess, the neoprene line shorts, are a great fit as well.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, I mean, we're hopefully going to be coming through this the COVID-19 sort of closures here, and getting back on track for the rest of the season. So I just want to say thanks for taking the time to sit down with us. I'm sure it's it's busy despite all the closures. So we really appreciate you taking the time.
You're very welcome.
Best of luck this season, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Okay, thanks, Stig.